Hello, this is Ms. Cliffner with your lesson for 6.5a in the Big Ideas Math textbook. This is the first lesson on the coordinate plane. The essential question is, how can you graph and locate points that contain negative numbers in a coordinate plane? And first, of course, I've got a warm-up for you. Notice it has some absolute values, and I'm asking you to put the values in order from least to greatest. So in order to do that, you're going to want to write the equivalent value, right? The absolute value of positive 30 is positive 30. The absolute value of negative 22 is positive 22. The absolute value of negative 18 is a positive 18. Remember, distance is always positive, and absolute value is the number that a distance is from the distance. It's the distance a number is from 0. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video. Hopefully you figured out how to put those numbers in order from least to greatest. So I'm going to start with the biggest positive number, which means it is the smallest value, negative 20. Then I have negative 19. Then I have negative 18. And let's see, positive 18, but then the original value I was given was the absolute value of negative 18. And then I'm going to have the absolute value of negative 22. And then the last one is the absolute value of 30. Okay, just a little warm up for you for absolute value. Okay, so for today's lesson, you're going to fill in this important information. This is the key idea from your textbook. It's all about a coordinate plane, right? Hopefully you've seen coordinate planes before, and hopefully you're going to fill in these blanks while you're at home taking notes. A coordinate plane is formed by the intersection of a horizontal number line and a vertical number line, right? So this is the horizontal number line, the x-axis, and this is the vertical number line, it's the y-axis. The lines intersect at the origin, and they separate the coordinate plane into 4 regions, and they're called quadrants, right? The prefix quad stands for 4, right? If you are on a quad motorcycle, there's 4 tires. Let's see, what else is a quad? Well, quarter, right? It kind of has the first 3 letters, at least that match. And there's 4 quarters in a dollar. A quart of milk, right? There's 4 quarts in a gallon. So this is what the coordinate plane looks like, and this is where we graph. Notice that the numbers of the quadrants are Roman numerals, right? And then if you make a big C, a letter over the coordinate plane, where you start, this is quadrant 1, it goes through 2, 3, and it ends up in quadrant 4, right? That's the Roman numeral for 4. It's literally take 1 away from 5 and it equals 4. And then notice that there's an x-axis, there's a y-axis, and then you can see the origin, right? This origin is noted by this ordered pair called 0, 0. And when we start graphing, we always start at the origin to graph. So here we go. There's a little picture of what I showed you before, and an ordered pair is used to locate a point in a coordinate plane. And I want you to write that this is the x-coordinate, even though I made the space kind of small. I'll have to make that bigger for you guys. And this would be the y-coordinate. So one of the ways I think about it is I always like make a little guy to be my x. And this little guy does the walking. So like when you walk into a store, right, you can't go up and down the elevator until you actually get inside the store, at least most stores. If they have an elevator, it's on the inside. So the X always goes first. We look at the either going to the left or to the right, and then the Y looks like a yo-yo, right? So the Y goes up and down, right? Like a yo-yo, either up or down. So ordered pairs, kind of like if you've ever played Battleship, there's there's a row of letters and a row of numbers that indicate a place on in the ocean for the battleship. And then I'm just asking you, what are the 7 locations on the coordinate plane, just to make sure that you know what they are. There's the x-axis here. There's the y-axis in this direction. So we have the x-axis. We're going to make a list. We have the y. Oops. We do that. We have the y-axis. We have the origin. That's almost what I start with every single time I make graph. I need the x, the axis, the y-axis, and I need to know where the origin is. And then notice there's just the quadrants, right? I'm going to abbreviate it as quad. So there's quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and then there's quadrant 4. And remember, we don't use the Arabic numerals that we normally use. We use Roman numerals for quadrants. Okay, so that's what it looks like. You definitely want to put this in your notes because there is a homework question that's going to ask you to label the coordinate plane with the 7 sort of attributes. Okay, so here's an example of how you identify an ordered pair in a graph. So notice the question that I'm doing as my example, and then you have some OYOs to do on your own. I'm looking at point T. So here's what I need to do. I always start at the origin, and I always go left to right first. I do the X number first, and then the Y. So right here, when I start at 0, I move 1, 2, 3 spaces to the right, and then I go 1, 2, 3 spaces down. So notice when you go to the right, you're going in a positive direction. And then when you go down, it's a negative direction. So the ordered pair that corresponds to T, that tells people how to get to T, is 3, negative 3. So this is the X and this is the Y. X comes first in the alphabet. We always put the X coordinate first, right? I didn't put negative 3, positive 3, because I don't go down first. I always go left or right first. Okay, so go ahead and pause this and try to find the ordered pairs that go with P, Q, R, and S. Remember, always start at the origin and do the left or right movement first. Okay, so I'm going to start at the origin. I'm going backwards, so I'm going negative 3. So I could just do this right away, right? The X is negative 3. And then I go up 1, 2, 3, positive 3. Same thing for point Q. Ooh, this one's kind of tricky because when I go backwards, right, I'm going to the left 2 spaces. That makes it a negative 2. But then I'm not traveling up and down, which means I'm telling you to go 0 spaces up or down. So that's why I put 0 as the Y coordinate. And then point R is left 1, so I know it's negative 1. But then to get down here, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4. So even though it's not labeled, I know it's negative 4. Now I want you to see the lines for the positive 3 and negative 3. They're on the graph to show you how to move to get to that point. But we don't do this. So I don't go like this, right? I don't want to draw the arrows. I don't want to draw this every time because that makes my graph really messy. What I want to make sure I do is I just put my pencil above it and I just sort of trace over it without actually drawing on the coordinate plane. Okay, so the last one is S. Notice I'm not going left or right, so I have to put a 0 for the X value. I didn't go left or right because I just need to go straight up 2 spaces for S. Okay, so that's how you write an ordered pair based on the letter that you see in the graph. And then I want to point out that when you label ordered pairs, they're usually capital letters, not lowercase. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you to plot some ordered pairs, and I want you to give the letter, put the letter next to it when you plot it, and then you're going to describe the location. So we're going to start with A as an example. It's 0, negative 3.5. So I'm going to start at 0, but then 0 means I don't go left or right. And the negative, right, so this is my X, this is my Y. I don't go left or right, but the second coordinate tells me to go down 1, 2, 3.5. So I go down here. I could put the ordered pair, but it's easier if you have a letter to just go ahead and put the capital letter next to it. So I'm going to describe the location. So location has to do with where it is in the coordinate plane. And I'm going to label my quadrants. 1, 2, 3, and this is quadrant 4. And notice, remember, it kind of makes a big capital C starting here at quadrant 1. This is the one that you probably graphed in last year in 5th grade. Maybe you did some graphing because the X is positive and the Y is positive. So usually that's where students start graphing. Okay, so I have 0 and then I have negative 3.5. So the place where that point is located is actually on the y-axis. So I'm going to label this y-axis up here, and I'm going to label this one the x-axis, just so you remember. So the location is, so this point is located, right? That means I'm describing to somebody where to find it. It's located on the y-axis. Now, if I want to get more specific, I can say between quadrants. I'm abbreviating. So it's right here. It's in between 3 and 4. Between quadrants 3 and 4. Okay, so now I want you to graph B and C and then describe the location. Maybe it's in quadrants 1, 2, 3, or 4, or maybe it's on the y-axis, or maybe on the x-axis. Okay, pause the video. This is for you. So you're graphing -2, 3. So I start at the origin. I go over 2. I go up 3, right? X is negative, Y is positive, and I put a capital B next to it. So -2, 3 is located in quadrant 2, right? It's in this part of the graph. It is located in quad 2. All right, the last one, 4, 0. So I start at the origin, I go over 4, but then I don't go up and down, right? My x value is 4, my y value is 0. Hey, guess what? It is on the x-axis. So 4, 0 is located, I'm going to be writing on myself here. I'm going to move, there we go, is located on the x-axis, comma, and it's right here. Whoops, I forgot to put my capital C. It's right there between quadrants 1 and 4. Between quads 1 and 4. Okay, that's it for the lesson. And today's homework assignment is informative. So go ahead and make sure you click the link in Canvas. Good luck.